Are you curious about revision? Well, apparently a lot of my subscribers are. So today we're going to talk about revision, how it works, what it is, revising a breakup, revising on the spot, revising at the end of the day. So if you want to hear all about that, stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome to another rousing episode of Spilling the Tea Tuesday. My name is Flossie and I am a mindset coach, part of the funniest, wittiest coaching duo that exists here on YouTube, along with Nikki, who's at Total Manifesting. So if you would like one-on-one coaching with me, links will be in the description box below, as well as links for our upcoming 3-day crash course that is going to be hella exciting. Make 2023 the best year yet. If you're a VIP group member, you get $30 off. There will be a coupon in the VIP group. Links for all of that, as well as Nikki's coaching, will be in the description box below. But yeah, Nikki and I are doing a 3-day course, just a few weeks, about how to make 2023 the best fucking year yet, period. But anyway, let's jump right into the topic of revision. What is revision? Well, revision is when you use either a visualization or affirmations in order to revise something that's happened to you, to revise the past, period. So a lot of people are like, well, how would that work anyway? You have to keep in mind that memories are just a construct. They are a construct that you keep alive by rethinking the same thought about something that happened over and over and over again. So you keep thinking the same thought about an event, a situation. It just keeps that in your 3D reality. So when you do revision, you actually can change the memory of the past. You can literally change the past by revising it. I personally love revision. A lot of my clients have success with the revision because I teach a lot about that. I have taught revision essentially the same way since I've been doing this. So if you are revising an event such as a breakup with your specific person, you want to do that one of two ways. So you can either create a visualization or you can use it with affirmations. Doesn't matter. But either one you choose, you're going to loop whatever it is, the visualization or the affirmations, for several minutes. Several minutes means however long it feels good to you. If you are looping a scene or affirmations for 2 or 3 minutes and you're feeling like you're done with that set, then you're done with that set. If you feel like you want to do it for 4 or 5 minutes, it's actually up to you. A lot of times you'll know when you're done because it's going to feel natural to you. You're going to do what's natural to you. If you are affirming and you're like, I don't know how long to do it for. Honestly, I don't feel anything. I'm not feeling any different. Then maybe set a timer for like 5 minutes. But anyway, you're going to loop these, the revision separate from your other visuals, from your other affirmations, because this is a revision. You're going to loop it for several minutes, 2 to 4 times a day for a minimum of 3 days. But you do it until either you feel great about the visualization or the affirmations, like you feel really great about it, very comfortable with it. Or 2, your first thought of the event is the revision. You can get to that point because I've personally done that myself, where I took a situation that was very unpleasant in my 3D reality and I affirmed and persisted with my new visualization until that was my first thought of that day. Or 3, that is your only thought of that day, period. So what happens when you do that? People's memories in your 3D reality can literally get fuzzy about what actually happened. They may not remember what happened. Why? Let me put it this way. Your 3D reality is made up of what? Your dominant thoughts and assumptions. When you change your dominant thoughts and assumptions about a situation, person, event, what happens? Everybody else's are going to change too. Why? Because your 3D reality is literally made of your dominant thoughts and assumptions. So if you change your dominant thought and assumption from something unpleasant to something pleasant, either people aren't going to remember it or they're going to remember it as something pleasant. Now, does this mean that if you revise a breakup that you're going to wake up with the SP laying in your bed and you don't remember how that happened? Not if that's not natural to you, because things are going to unfold in a way that's natural to you. It could be a situation where the SP doesn't remember really why you broke up or is shocked that you're not together and then comes forth. Remember, your 3D reality, your manifestations unfold in the most natural way to you. It unfolds on how you think that it is possible. So if you think that it is possible to revise how old you are, to revise, car accident from never happening, to revise anything, then in your 3D reality, that is what's going to be possible, and you can revise that. If you're like, no way, that's not possible that I can revise that, you may not revise it to where it's never happened, but you can revise it to where it's like people don't remember why it was such a big deal. I have literally had clients that have done revision. One did a revision with fight with their SP, their specific person. Text messages literally disappeared, like whole conversations, and they didn't delete them. I've had another client do revision on getting a rejection letter from a company, and those emails of rejection letters disappeared out of the email. She did not delete them. So you can do revision, and it impacts the past, which impacts your current 3D reality and therefore your future. So back to how to do revision. Sorry, I get a little long-winded. Anyway, so you have your breakup or another event. If you want to use a visualization, you're going to create a visualization that would imply to you that that situation never happened. So if you had a fight with your SP and you're going to remember that day, you're just going to remember vaguely where you were and what people, what they're wearing. Maybe you see them say hello to you, or maybe you see something right before the event happened, and then you're going to change what happened. So you see yourself having a good time, and maybe that's when the fight started that led to your breakup. That fight now didn't happen. You're going to just see yourself continuing to have a good time. Or you can create a scene that's at the very end of that day together, where instead of like you leaving because there was a fight, you're seeing your SP, and the SP is just telling you like, I had a great time with you, baby. I'm so in love with you, blah, blah, blah. Or if you had a huge fight and you're like someone who can't let go that you had a fight, then see your SP saying, you know what? I'm so sorry. I don't want to argue about any of this. I want to work it out with you. Like, you're the love of my life. Let's work on this. And, see you guys hugging, or see you hugging him or something. It doesn't really matter if the revision is from first or third person. It doesn't matter if you see it as a observer or whether you see them and like you don't see yourself, maybe just your hands or whatever. Really, honestly, does not matter. It's just you want to create a scene that's short, 10 to 15 seconds, maybe on the absolute longest end, 20 seconds max. Why? Because you have to loop the scene over and over again. You want to retain control of the scene. So whether it is the event never happened to begin with, whether it's you change the end completely, you want to loop this scene for several minutes, 2 to 4 times a day for at least 3 days, and then the rest of the instructions. That's one way. You could also use a telephone technique where you are talking to somebody and you are telling them that you had the greatest night out with your SP that night, or you could hear someone say, oh girl, I heard you and SP got in a fight, and you would be like, no, it ended up being no big deal. We totally made up. He told me he's madly in love with me, and now our relationship's stronger than ever. And you would loop that conversation. So you can, if you can't visualize the actual event itself, you can go to like imagining that you had a conversation with a friend that you're going to loop that would imply that everything was fine. Just like, if you had a car accident, you can just create a visualization where you safely get to the destination. You would avoid that completely. You just picture yourself, you create a scene where you imagine yourself getting to where you were go completely safe and secure. Or you can also use a telephone technique again, where you hear a person say like, how was such and such event, or how did that day go for you? And you can make up, oh, it was totally fine. I had the best time. Just something that would imply that that day was totally and completely fine. Again, so that is how you can either do visualization or telephone technique, which is not quite a visualization, but it's using some auditory things there to create a scene that you're going to loop. If you want to do with affirmations, you would create affirmations that would imply that the breakup never happened. So you would use the present perfect tense for most affirmations, which is have been, have loved, etc., with an absolute like always. Typically use always, occasionally never or only can apply, but typically always. And it would be like, our relationship has always been perfect. We have always been madly in love with each other. Our relationship, you can use our relationship is stronger than ever. You can use things like we have been together for X amount of time, but something that just implies our relationship has always been perfect. Our relationship is stronger than ever. We've always been madly in love with each other. Things like that, because if you've always been together and your relationship has always been perfect, that would imply that you've never broken up. We've always treated each other with love and respect. Things like that you're going to loop, and you're going to loop because that implies that you didn't break up. You would follow the same instructions. You would loop them for several minutes, 2 to 4 times a day for a minimum of 3 days. If you're doing a car accident or another type of event, You're going to say, you would use a date and be like, that was an absolute perfect day for me. I had the best day on that day. If that was your only car accident or the only time that you experienced a certain type of event, if it is not too triggering for you and doesn't keep you in the old story for you, you can say, I've never been in a car accident, or that has never happened to me. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I've never been in a car accident. I've never had this experience, or I've always gotten to my destination safely. I've always been completely safe and secure in the car, if you want to word it in a more positive way. I have never had any legal issues. I have always had a clean record. However it is that you want to put it, you can literally revise anything. So that is how you can revise an event using visualizations, affirmations, or like revising a breakup. Now, if you want to revise on the spot, that's when, if someone tells you no, you change it to yes. If they said something that's unpleasant in your mind, you're changing it to what you would have wanted to hear. So, SP says something stupid in your mind, you're like, oh, like in the 3D, you're like, oh, okay. And then in your mind, you're like, oh, she just told me how beautiful I am. Of course they did. I'm the sexiest bitch up over here. She just said everything I wanted to hear. You would affirm things like that. You would just flip it on the spot. You change it to what you would have wanted to experience. And that's literally what revising on the spot is. Someone says XYZ, you flip it in your mind and said, oh, I'm so happy that they said ABC, because that's exactly what I've wanted. I love that I always get what I want. And then you just keep referring as if you always get what you want. When you revise something on the spot, you're not looping it forever. You're just looping the situation quickly a few times, because why? You're just getting that out of your 3D reality. You're going to choose, hopefully that didn't mess anything up. You're going to choose not to react to that. So I like to revise shit on the spot. If people are telling me something that I don't prefer or I don't care to hear, I'm like, nope. I just love everything that they had to say. They just told me that I'm the best person on the face of this planet, blah, 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 blah. I'm the best, whatever. And I just keep affirming and persisting, sometimes while even ignoring what they're saying. Why? Because I don't give a fuck. I don't care. The other thing is you can revise at the end of the day. If you had some shit happen in 3D that you're not happy about, and you're like, I just want to revise at the end of this day, you can just be like, let's say you're in no contact, didn't hear from SP all day. You can be revising at the end of the day, be like, I had such an amazing day today. SP was literally blowing up my phone. They were totally telling me how much they love me, how beautiful I am, how our relationship is fucking perfect. And you can just loop that type of stuff to yourself as you're going to sleep. Now, don't use revision as an excuse to keep a shitty ass mental diet. You still want to keep a clean mental diet. You still want to watch what you're thinking. You still want to have thoughts in line with what you want to experience, but you can revise at the end of the day to help you to get to where you want to go. Now, I do want to say that before you do revision on like a breakup with your SP, make sure you have written your SP and FU letter beforehand, because you want to deal with any emotion that you have that's excess around whatever has happened. Just like if you had another event that was stressful for you and you want to revise that event into something else, I would write a FU letter to it. So no matter if it's to an SP or a different person that's involved or a situation, you'd be like, dear SP, dear person, dear event that I don't appreciate. Write everything that you would say to its face, his, her, its face, if you could. No social niceties, no holds barred, there's no repercussions. Then how you feel now about it, or how you remember feeling in the past if it was something that was a while ago. And then how you feel about manifesting it, even if it was unintentional. We're not playing the blame game. I'm not into playing the blame game, but we do manifest things in our 3D reality just based on thoughts and assumptions that sometimes don't work for us, even if we're spiritually asleep. All you have to do is just say, if you were spiritually awake at the time, I don't appreciate manifesting that, especially since I know better as a conscious manifester. If you were spiritually asleep saying, I manifested this unintentionally, but it was a creation, and just move on from it. Obviously, we don't want bad things to happen for us. I'm not saying that we're not victim shaming, victim blaming. I just am saying for some things, we can just take some acknowledgement that it was part of our manifestation journey and put it to bed. Then you're going to burn it, destroy it, get rid of it. You are not going to keep it. You're not going to reread it. You're not going to give it to anybody, period. Hardcore facts. Those FU letters that go straight in the trash. Hold on here. You see this bitch right here? You burn that shit. You get rid of that shit. The things that you don't want go in the fucking trash where it belongs. So make sure you write that FU letter before you start your revision processes. So again, to recap, if you're doing a revision of an event, such as a breakup or a car accident. You can create a short scene, 10 to 15 seconds, not longer than 20 seconds, where you're going to loop that scene for several minutes, 2 to 4 times a day for at least 3 days. And I already gave the parameters of when you would stop, but it's for at least 3 days. You can also use the telephone technique if you can't create a visual scene in your head where you hear a voice of a person that you trust telling you something, saying something to you, and you respond. So, you had an amazing day that day. Yeah, I did. I love everything that I did that day. Like if there was a car accident, you would change the story around that completely. If it was a breakup with your SP, you're going to say like, oh, if you are not going to get rid of a fight that was had, but just change the ending. Oh, I heard you and SP got in a fight. Oh, don't worry. It's totally cool now. We totally made up. He's completely madly in love with me. Our relationship's stronger than ever. And you'd loop that conversation. If you're using affirmations, you would choose affirmations that would imply to you that everything is Gucci, that you've never broken up. Our relationship has always been perfect. We have always been together. Our relationship is stronger than ever. We've always been madly in love with each other. We've been together for X number of years. And loop that sort of stuff. For an accident, I've always safely gotten to my destination. I safely got to my destination on such and such date. Such and such date was such a perfect day for me. We've already reviewed all that. But anyway, I'm going to loop it 2 to 4 times a day for several minutes, 2 to 4 times a day for at least 3 days. But until either you're feeling great about the revision itself, you're feeling good about what it is that you're visualizing, doing the telephone technique, affirming, you feel absolutely fabulous about it, you're totally comfortable with it, or your first thought of the event or whatever it is a fucking revision, or that's your only thought. Or you can revise on the spot by flipping to whatever your experience was in your mind to what you would have wanted to experience, and you would loop that just a few times and continue to affirm and persist for what you want, or you can revise it at the end of every day. Why? Because your 3D reality is made up of your thoughts and assumptions. You change your thoughts and assumptions around anything, including any event, anything. And you can change your 3D reality in relation to that. Of course, it's going to manifest in what is the most natural way to you. But affirm and persist and just get your fucking shit, period. That's all we're all about here. Getting your shit. Get it. Just get your shit. So thank you for the video idea. I hope this clarified some things about revision for you. I will, in a later video, talk about revising your relationship patterns or cycles with money, because that's completely different. Not totally, but there is some differences to it. And plus, I don't want a video that's a fucking hour long, because we're already at like 17 minutes. Hello? Anyway, 3-day crash course coming up soon. Links will be in the description. All right? Okay. See you soon. Bye.